The sixth form team is made up of myself, Miss Reese, as the head of sixth form, and I'm line managed by Mr. Simon Crasco, who is the vice principal, and one of his responsibilities is to be in charge of sixth form. Within the team then we have Mr. Boyd, who is the head of sixth form achievement, Miss Lyons, who's the head of year 13, and Miss Cabella, who's the head of year 12. We then have Miss Smith, who is the post 16 senior support officer, and Miss Afford, who is a support officer and attendance officer. We have two pathways you can follow within the sixth form. The first being the traditional 3A levels pathway. Some students are able to do 4 subjects, but that is for conversations with individual students. And we also offer the ability for students to do community language where appropriate. Now, being appropriate would mean speaking that language at home. We then also offer the Level 3 Extended Diploma CTEC in both Business Studies or CTEC Sport. This is 3 A-level equivalent and tends to be the only subject you study. Please note for the A-level pathway, you are expected to get 5 GCSE grades 9 to 6 with grade 5 in English and Maths. However, for each subject, they then have their own individual set of entry requirements, which I will be discussing later on in this video. Please note the individual A-level requirements for each individual subject. This doesn't include science, which I will discuss on the next slide. However, all these entry criteria can also be found on the website, and it is worth familiarising yourself with them. So just for example, looking at further maths, you would be expected to get an 8 in maths and an 8 in physics. Or for a subject like psychology, you are expected to get a 6 in English and a 6 in maths. However, we do not expect you to have GCSE psychology, as we appreciate many of you will not have studied that before. For the sciences, the entry criteria is slightly more complicated. So, for example, if you want to study biology, you are required to have 7 in double science or 7s in biology and chemistry and a 7 in maths, as well as English language. GCSE is 6 in English language. Now, if you look through the combinations, now if you want to study more than one science, those combinations can change. So, for example, if you want to do biology and physics, you would be expected to get an 8 and a 7 in double science. Like I've said before, you can find all this information online, or I would be happy to send this out to you. For the CTEC pathway, it is slightly different, as you are required to get 5 GCSE grades 9 to 4. And then for PE, you're also expected to get a grade 4 or above in GCSE PE or a merit in level 2 sport. We also offer the opportunity to be part of the Football Academy. These trials have already taken place. However, we do sometimes take some latecomers into the Football Academy, and this would be something, if you want to be part of this, register interest with the sports team. Some of the perks of this, you would get full academy tracksuit and training kit, opportunities for FA coaching, opportunities to gain scholarships to the USA universities. I'm not going to give you much information on the Harris Experience Advanced right now, as Mr. Boyd has created a fantastic video on both Harris Experience Advanced and Oxbridge, which is worth taking a look later on in the playlist. As part of our ongoing support to help students achieve their full potential, we offer students in Year 12 extra guided learning on their timetable, which is 5 hours of supervised study on their timetable each week, as well as extra revision sessions after school and in the holidays and the occasional Saturday. We also have our student welfare officer, Miss Smith, who is accessible at all times in the sixth form to support with any needs you may have that wouldn't necessarily be academic. The day in the academy starts at 8:30 with students expected on site at 8:25 a.m. I've now listed throughout the day how this day is structured, and you finish at 3 p.m. Students in Year 12 are allowed off site at lunch, but not during their free periods. But in Year 13, if you are on target to achieve your predicted results, you will get those free periods off site as well. We operate a professional environment when it comes to dressing in the sixth form. Now, for boys, this means a suit and tie, and for girls, this means a smart dress, which would be appropriate in the workplace. For students who are on a sporting pathway, they are on days of matches allowed to wear West Ham sportswear. Now, this is only applicable for the West Ham. On this slide, you will see what isn't allowed and what isn't deemed appropriate, and I can have conversations with any student who would want to query any of this further. We offer a variety of different enrichment opportunities, such as book club, film club, table tennis, football and basketball, which both prove very popular, as well as volunteering in the primary and secondary schools, a very detailed lecture programme, fitness classes both internally and externally, and also performing arts.